Rabia Square, the site of one of Egypt's most horrific atrocities. In 2013, newly enthroned coup leader Abdel Fattah El-Sisi orders a massacre of civilians, the Rabia Square massacre. Thousands gathered at Rabia Square to protest the overthrow of Egypt's first democratically elected president by Sisi's putschist faction. Supporters of election winner Mohamed Morsi are gunned down by security forces ordered in by coup leader Sisi. Thousands are slaughtered. Rabia represents the largest incident of killing of demonstrators in a single day in recent history. According to Human Rights Watch, the massacre was planned at the highest levels of the Egyptian government. It was the Egyptian Interior Minister who gave the order to kill masses of innocents at Rabia, supervised by Sisi himself. Special forces carried out the attack using armoured personnel carriers, bulldozers, ground troops and snipers. In retrospect, the violence and murder unleashed by Sisi seems to have been inevitable. Soon after installing himself as coup leader, Sisi began to avenge those who opposed his illegitimate rule. Sisi's post-coup government has been characterized by abuse, killings of protesters by security forces, mass detentions, military trials of civilians, hundreds of death sentences, and a blatant lack of accountability. Sisi, the dictator, has ensured near-total impunity for security force abuses and has issued a raft of laws that severely curtail civil and political rights, effectively erasing the human rights gains won in 2011's uprising. Sisi is also guilty of horrendous crimes in the country's embattled Sinai province. In October 2014, the coup leader ordered his army to forcefully evict thousands of families from their homes along the border with the Gaza Strip, claiming that armed groups in the Sinai were receiving weapons and fighters through tunnels from Gaza. Sisi's army destroyed nearly all buildings and farmland within a kilometre of the border, using explosives and earth-moving equipment. The unjust treatment of the wretched people of Sinai was yet another stark incident reflecting the brutality of a regime imposed on Egypt after the illegitimate removal of its first democratically elected government. Residents of Sinai were evicted with little or no warning, no temporary housing, no compensation for their farmland, and no recourse to challenge eviction orders. Sisi has demonstrated his thirst for atrocity outside Egypt too, particularly in Palestine's Gaza. Egypt under Sisi sees Hamas, which governs the Gaza Strip, as an illegal group and has seized its assets as well as barring members from meeting on its soil. The Egyptian army destroyed many of the tunnels running under the Egypt-Gaza border, essential for the daily existence of innocent Palestinians under Israeli siege. The tunnels supplied Gaza with everything from food and fuel for vehicles to construction materials. Egypt is more than willing to collaborate with Israel in the complete siege of Gaza, eager to please their Israeli co-conspirators in the destruction of Palestine. Egyptian authorities pumped water from the Mediterranean Sea into underground transport tunnels that connect the Gaza Strip with Egypt. According to the Gazan Civil Defense Rescue Agency, at least 14 Palestinians went missing after one tunnel was flooded with seawater. Meanwhile, Sisi has taken Turkey, a country that opposed his illegitimate rule from the very beginning, as his arch-regional rival. In the wake of the recent Qatar crisis, the putschist Egyptian president suggested that the anti-Qatar bloc should also ostracize Turkey. Thus Sisi, the coup leader par excellence, was a natural supporter of the bloody July 2016 coup attempt in Turkey. Immediately after the July 15th coup attempt, a member of the Egyptian parliament suggested Egypt provide political asylum to the coup's ringleader, Fethullah Gulen, a dangerous terrorist mastermind who operates out of a shadowy retreat in the United States, Pennsylvania. Recent investigations have also revealed that a close ally of Sisi's, sinister Palestinian operative, Mohammed Darlan, was directly involved in the July 15th coup attempt. Immediately after the failed coup, a media outlet owned by Darlan conducted a carefully designed propaganda interview with terror leader Fethullah Gulen. El-Sisi is a war criminal. Sisi is a brutal dictator with the blood of thousands of his own people on his hands. With Sisi's criminal responsibility beyond dispute, one may wonder why the brutal dictator has escaped international condemnation. The severity of his actions and the sheer number of victims killed at his hands must surely warrant the attention of organisations such as the International Criminal Court. After all, the ICC was created to exercise jurisdiction over persons for the most serious crimes of international concern. Sisi's brutal record fits that bill to a T. Unfortunately, international law, as it currently stands, is less concerned with justice and more concerned with the interests of those that pretend to uphold its lofty ideals. For Sisi to be charged by the ICC, he would have to be referred to the UN Security Council. Yet for the decisive members of the Security Council, Sisi is viewed not as a brutal dictator and murderer of his own people, but as a strategic asset who has worked as a pawn to secure their vital interests. Justice may be delayed by the machinations of those in power, but it will always instinctually rise in the hearts of those who suffer oppression and those who feel solidarity for their suffering. Sooner or later, Sisi and his brutal ilk will be held responsible for the atrocities they've committed, and the thousands who gave their lives in the struggle for justice will be redeemed for their gallant sacrifice.